Hey, what's up out there, everyone? Dane here from Moving to Canada. I'm going live today to bring you guys the results of the latest Express Entry draw. It is Wednesday, May 26th, and we've just had an Express Entry draw take place. Just a little bit of a disclaimer here. Today's Express Entry draw was for provincial nominees only, so it's not the most exciting draw results, but I will go through what we do know. I see a ton of people hopping into the stream here. If you're watching, drop me a comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm in my new apartment in Montreal, so really lovely day out here. Sunny right now, but it's supposed to thunderstorm in a little bit, so we'll see if that happens. And if you have any questions about Express Entry, if you've got questions about any of the stuff we're going over today, anything about Canadian immigration, drop in your questions. I'll answer a couple of them here at the end of the video. I see Iffy tuning in from Nigeria. Faitzo from India, which is cool. Nazir says hi. Hey, Nazir. Vandermeeg from Buenos Aires. Hey, I think I might go visit Buenos Aires next year, so maybe I'll come visit you. Okay, so let's jump into the draw results for today. We had an Express Entry draw take place today. As I mentioned, it was for provincial nominees only. That's only people who have a nomination through a PNP or provincial nominee program. There were 500 invitations to apply issued, and the minimum CRS score cutoff for today's draw was 713 points. If you've been following all of these PNP draws for the last few months, 713, it's a pretty average number for a PNP draw. It's always up in the 700s or 800s when it's a PNP draw, just because PNP candidates get an extra 600 points added to their profiles. So what we are watching for over the next 2 days is whether or not there's going to be a Canadian experience class draw. Often we will see the PNP draw followed by a CEC draw on either Thursday or Friday. But if you remember, we had an unexpected CEC draw take place last week, so less than a week ago. So we're kind of wondering, are they going to bother doing the CEC draw this week if they just did one last week? We're not really sure, but we are monitoring that. If there are draw results that take place, we will go live on Instagram and post it on our website. Everything. You can trust that we will get the information out there. And I see Gintas is asking about FSW. So that's a great question. I feel like we get it every time there's a draw now. There have yet to be any draws for federal skilled worker candidates or federal skilled trades candidates so far this year. Since 2021 started, there have been no FSW draws. What we're watching is the pandemic and the progression of the pandemic. We've been seeing Canada prioritize immigration candidates who are already in the country during the pandemic. This is because a lot of other people can't travel because of the really intense COVID-19 travel restrictions. So what we're hoping is that once the travel restrictions loosen, at that point we'll see immigration return to some sort of pre-pandemic norm. It might not be exactly the same, but at least FSW and FST candidates will once again be considered. We can't promise that's what'll happen, but that's kind of what we're watching for. On that front, we've had some optimistic COVID news coming out of Canada over the past week. Case numbers are falling, vaccine rates are going up. More than 50% of Canada has now received at least one dose of COVID vaccine. So there are reasons to be optimistic. Still, timelines are projecting anyone who wants both doses of vaccine will be able to get both doses of COVID vaccine probably by September, although some provinces have moved that up and they're saying August now. So we've still got a couple months ahead, and probably all the restrictions won't lift until the vaccination campaign has made some more progress. So there's still some struggle ahead here in Canada, but there are reasons to be optimistic, and you can look ahead to maybe that August, September milestone as maybe when immigration will return to some sort of pre-pandemic norm. Great. And if he's asking, when do we expect the travel restrictions to loosen? Yeah, so probably when more of the population is fully vaccinated. It probably won't happen, in, May is almost done. Probably won't happen in June, maybe in July once we're getting more full vaccinations. Or, you know, the alternate option is they might not just like totally relax it all in one go. They might bring in some new exemptions, like, you know, people who are fully vaccinated can travel. Or they might say, like, okay, we're going to start by letting COPR holders, people who've been approved for permanent residence, they can now travel, instead of just saying everybody's welcome again all at the same time. And we've got a whole set of COVID guides on our website, following the travel restrictions, following, like, you know, when is the border going to open. So you can get all of that at movingtocanada.com. That's the number 2, movingtocanada.com. Great. So let me scroll through here, see if we've got a couple questions. So Faitzo was asking, I'm already in the express entry pool waiting for a draw. Is a CRS score of 470 good enough? So if you're in the Canadian experience class, 470 is great. If you're in FSW, we just haven't had any FSW draws take place so far in 2021. So we're waiting to see, once they do resume, the CRS score cutoff will probably be above 470, as soon as they get back to FSW draws. But we might see it drop down to that. Like 470 is sort of where it was before the pandemic, like right around that level. So it is a very competitive score, but I'm just hesitant to say, like, oh yeah, it'll be good enough. Like there's too many unknowns now as to like how high it will be when they go back into FSW draws. But you do have reasons to be optimistic there, Faitzo. Okay, and we got some people just asking about like general immigration info. Manju is asking about work permits, and Nazir's just asking for general help. Head over to the Moving to Canada website. We've got tons of resources on there, on like work permits, on different immigration pathways, all that fun stuff. Okay, let's see. Oh, just give me a sec, guys. Guntest is asking, will there be changes in FSW regarding NOC codes? We don't expect any changes regarding NOC codes, no. Express entry, the requirement for FSW and CEC has always been that the work experience needs to be skilled, so that's at a National Occupational Classification skill level 0, A or B, and there's no indication that they're going to be changing that anytime soon. Yep, Shub is asking, is there only CEC draws that are going right now? Yeah, so CEC draws and PNP draws are all we've seen for 2021. Emmanuel's asking, I'm in the pool for a working holiday visa since March and I still haven't gotten the invitation. Is it normal? So Emmanuel, I'm guessing you have a job offer and you emailed your job offer. You need a job offer to get invited from the working holiday pool this year, and you have to have emailed it to there's a specific way you have to email it to them. Like there's a specific address and you have to have like a certain subject line. So make sure you follow those instructions properly. If you follow those instructions, then you should receive your invitation, provided that they approve your job offer. It just might take a while, since March is quite a while, but I don't know exactly how they're selecting people, but I know that it has taken some people, over a month to receive their invitation, so it's not like unheard of. It is a bit of an odd year, so it's hard to say, like, we don't have past precedents to look at, so I can't tell you exactly what to expect, but make sure you've submitted the job offer correctly, and provided you've done that, really there's not much else you can do aside from sit and wait for the invitation to come through. Okay. So Everyday Nature is asking, should you have funds when making your Express Entry application? So for Express Entry, you do have to, like, a component of the profile and a component of the application is demonstrating that you have enough financial means to support yourself and your family members when you do immigrate to Canada. If you are applying without a job offer and through FSW or FST, then you do need to have enough funds. It starts at about 13,000 Canadian dollars for a single applicant. You should check the exact numbers. And so you do have to have those funds. If you're applying through CEC, you're exempt from that requirement as well if you have a valid job offer from a Canadian employer, which is quite rare, to be honest. But if you do have that, you'd also be exempt from the proof of funds requirement. Manju's as saying, I'm from India. One of Canadian guys who works in Canadian immigration is asking for 1,000 CAD. Is that fake or real? So I would be very hesitant if anyone's asking you for $1,000 for your immigration process. There's just a ton of immigration scams. We've got some guides on our website about making sure that someone's legitimate if you're going to work with them. If you are thinking about getting help with your immigration application, we recommend a handful of Canadian immigration consultants. They're listed on the Moving to Canada website. They're all super legit. Like, we've verified their reputations. I'd suggest starting with a consultation with one of them. And generally, most immigration consultants who are worth their time and money will allow you to start with a consultation. It'll cost you $150 to $250 for an hour. You'll sit down with them, you'll go over your whole case, and then from there they'll be able to advise you this is how you can proceed, these are your best options. If you want, you can keep working with me, and at that point they might charge you. They'll say how much it would cost for their full services, which could be more money than the $150-$250. But if someone's asking you for $1,000 up front without providing you a consult up first, I'm super. It always sketches me out. There's just too much fraud. You got to be really, really careful. Head to our website, check out the article on red flags, as well as 7 questions to ask if you're going to hire an immigration consultant. Ask those 7 questions, and it should help you suss out whether or not they're legitimate or not. It is Hardik is asking, I'm a permanent resident of Canada. Can I leave Canada for 3 months? If you're a permanent resident, you can leave Canada, yes. Your PR status will allow you to return. And Shub is asking, can you please explain about Canadian experience class? Do you need work experience in Canada, or is it okay to have work experience in a Canadian-based company? Generally, it has to be completed in Canada. So that's if you've been working for a company that's owned, has Canadian owners, but you're in another country, it likely won't count for Canadian experience class. If he's asking if Canada is currently issuing PRs, so Canada is currently processing PR applications. Definitely, if you're in Canada, they're issuing more final decisions than if you're outside Canada, but they are still processing all the applications. Okay. Oh, we got tons of questions coming in here, guys. I'll try to take one last question here. Gia was asking, how can I start the process if I'm interested in the Northwest Immigration Program pilot? So I'm not I think you must be referring to the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot, the RNIP, which is a pilot program that's partnered with a few different rural and northern communities, smaller communities, to facilitate immigration. Most of those communities have set requirements that will require you to have a job offer in the community. So unless you have a job offer in Thunder Bay, Ontario, little area in Ontario, you won't be able to immigrate through those the rural and northern immigration pilot. It was very exciting when it was announced, but it's actually incredibly difficult to be eligible for. You'd have to check. We have a guide to the rural and northern pilot on the Moving to Canada website. You can check that out, and you'd have to check out the individual websites with the different program requirements for each of the participating communities, because they each get to set their own guidelines and point systems and eligibility requirements. It's quite complicated, and it is quite challenging to qualify for, especially without a job offer. So that covers it for today's video. I wish I could go through all of the questions that have come in, but unfortunately there just isn't time. Quick recap of the Express Entry draw results for those of you who missed it. We had a draw for provincial nominees take place today. Only PNP candidates were eligible. There were 500 invitations issued with a minimum CRS score cutoff of 713 points. Stay tuned. If there's a draw for CEC on Thursday or Friday, we will of course go live and bring you guys the results from that draw. We're not totally sure it'll will happen because there was one last week, but we will be monitoring. We'll go live if it happens. Thanks again for tuning in. Always a pleasure to bring you guys the latest, and we will see you next time.